Hello and welcome to the ADHD Open Space podcast. My name is Gray Miller, and it's been a while, hasn't it? Plus, hey, look, live video. How about that? I want to give a big shout out to both Lee Allure and Gretchen Shepard, who are two people who are friends of mine and that I admire a lot, and that have really helped to motivate me to get back on the old podcasting and even jumping into the video wagon. So here I am. Um, my last effort in this was talking about the axioms of ADHD, and you should definitely go back and listen to that at the podcast. But I will also say that I have been writing at least a lot, and you can find all that stuff at ADHDOpen.space, or if you're a member of the Medium community, love it if you read my stuff there. I do put it behind paywall because if you want it for free, it's on ADHDOpen.space. But if you read it on Medium, and you remember, they pay me money and help me keep going and doing this kind of stuff. But with the axioms, or sorry, with the axioms, I left a lot of things on the cutting room floor, so to speak. Like there were a lot of little things that kind of left out. And I found that list of things that I had not put into the axioms of ADHD. And so it's sort of like this is going to be 5 more. Axioms would be a little much to call them. Let's call them maxims of ADHD. And I titled this article, "Oh, now that makes sense." And remember that this is all stuff that is very subjective. It's not available in all brains. Some restrictions apply. Please ask your physician before listening. Um, so we know the axioms. Here's some more uncomfortable truths. See, when I wrote about those lessons that I learned in the first 2 years of my late diagnosis of ADHD, there was a big list and it was too much. And with the help of my friend and fellow ADHDer Carl, among others, I was able to distill them into 5 fairly simple concepts because, the rule of the internet, it's either 3 things or 5 things, or one thing, the one thing. I know things aren't normally that way, but for some reason, our brains seem to work that way. Now, quick recap of what those axioms are. First of all, there's the axiom of stuff. Figure out where things want to live and put them there repeatedly. For example, this is my calendar notebook, okay? I thought about where would I like this to be? Do I want this to be over here on my left, left-handed? Do I want it to be over here? No, I don't want it on the left because I don't want to be constantly writing in it. I want to be able to consult it. So I put it on the right side of my desk, and that's where it lives. Um, Number 2, the axiom of transitions. The speed at which you transition from one place to another is directly proportional to the likelihood that you will forget something and the relative importance of the things you forgot. Also known as the hurrying is kryptonite rule, it basically is why if you're rushing out the door, you are likely to get slowed down by the fact that you left your keys behind. Number 3 is the axiom of magical thinking. Your brain sees the world through a kaleidoscope of vivid, shifting, and full of possibility. Unfortunately, it is not usually aligned with reality that others live in. Intentionality is your battle cry, and no side quests is your shield. Yes, if you're going to do something, do it. I came in here to record a podcast. I am not going to do anything else. Then there's the axiom of options. Choice is friction. And just because you can optimize something to be 3% better than it was, doesn't mean you should spend 50% of your available time doing it. Recently heard, I think it was Rochelle in Theory, talking about this in terms of planners. That when you have so many different planners to choose from up on your shelf, that you are actually giving your brain more cognitive load. And it makes it worse to try and find it out. Number 5 was the crash axiom. Crash is an acronym, by the way. Basically, it's talking about how everything works until it doesn't. And that's just the way the universe works. And it may feel like it's your fault, but it's really often not. The acronym stands for the cognitively responsible but aware that shit happens. Crash. That's the way I try to be. Cognitively responsible, but aware shit's gonna happen. Then, because I don't believe in being limited by silly little things like rules of 5s and 3s, there's a 6th one, which is the brain axiom. Your brain is beautiful. The difficulties come from trying to live in this strange world that was not designed for people who think like you. So you do the best you can to get what you need, and you do what you want with the brain that you have. But those are the six original axioms, and I just wanted to give a quick review because they are relevant to the maxims that I came up with. Maxims, truisms, corollaries, whatever you want to call them. And here's some of the related phenomena that have epitomized at least my experience of ADHD and perhaps yours. First, there's Murphy's Law for ADHDers. And interestingly, I actually coined this law or this corollary to Murphy's Law. I called it Miller's corollary um, because long before I had ADHD, I just kind of noticed it in my life, and I realized later on that it was more relevant to ADHD, which is just that, Murphy's Law says that everything that can go wrong will go wrong. The ADHD version is that everything that can go wrong already has gone wrong. You just don't know it yet. See, there's always this low-key anxiety going on in the back of my head, waiting for the bank alert, for an overdraft, or the friend who's waiting for me because I forgot our coffee date. The dreaded 3 words from the boss. Where's that report? We spend so much time trying out organization methods that because we dream of this system that will stop those unpleasant surprises, not to succeed, just to feel a little more safe. It's not about ambition or hustle. It's about trying to relax because you know that there's no open loops, as they say. Number 2 is the brain is a liar. Now, this is the brutally honest version of the magical thinking axiom, the one where your brain is a beautiful kaleidoscope. I deliberately had to change this one for that article because someone said, this is very negative. Maybe you should try to find a positive way to express it. And so I did. A beautiful kaleidoscope. Really, what it is your brain's a liar. Okay? Remember that anytime you hear yourself say, I'll just remember this, or it'll just take a second, or I'll put it away later, that's your brain lying to you. The third maxim is that lists are worthless by themselves. See, one of the ways your brain will fool you or lie to you is when you write down a task, it will make you feel that you've accomplished that task. Spoiler, you haven't. Now, your method for the list should have 3 simple steps. 1, make the list. Put it somewhere obvious. But remember, your brain doesn't see things it doesn't find interesting, so it will not be obvious enough. Proceed to B. You set a recurring alarm or timer that is simply there so that you will, the alarm goes off, look at the list that you wrote down. Now it's really simple in Mac OS. Hey Siri, set a timer for 4:30 to go over my to-do list.
9 hour and 7 minute go over my to-do list timer, starting now.
There we go. After that amount of time has gone on, 9 hours here, 2 hours, whatever you do, your phone or watch or computer will buzz the alert to check your lists. Here's the important part of this. I wrote it in all caps in the article. Never ignore the timer. Look, imagine if this portal opened up in thin air and a slightly older, more frantic version of yourself leaned in and said, "Oh God, thank God I've reached you from the future. I hope it's not too late for me, for you, to us, to fix it." I mean, would you listen to them? That timer going off is literally a message sent through time from your past self telling you that you need to do something. Listen to them. Maxim number 4, which actually turned into the entire next article on ADHDOpen.space, feel free to visit and look at it, is that not everything can be blamed on ADHD, but more than you think. One of the reasons the internet is saturated with ADHD content, guilty, is that along with improvements in the diagnostic methods, there have been a huge amount of communication, research, and shared experiences that reveal challenges far beyond just the simple, I forget things and get distracted easily. And it's a trope. Now, I've written other articles about the side effects of simply knowing about your ADHD and how it works, but it comes down to this. While there are a lot of common and well-known characteristics of these kinds of neurodivergent brains, the ripple effects of how these affect your life are going to be a lot more personal and diverse. It's my entirely unscientific opinion that the longer you lived without knowing, the deeper and more unknown these effects might be, disguised as pet peeves or that's just how I am. Now, it's not that you aren't that way or that this particular pet doesn't peeve, but when you find out why, it gives you the ability to make a more informed choice about your actions. Which brings me to number 5, which is, again, a corollary to your brain is beautiful, which is don't fix what ain't broke. I mean, if your informed choice is, my brain is awesome, I'm not changing a thing, that's 100% valid. Along with all the improvements in diagnoses and accommodations, has been the fact that many of us feel our ADHD doesn't need any D. Wait, that didn't come out quite right. Disorder. Our brain doesn't have a deficit, doesn't have a disorder. In fact, it's not any different than a neurotypical brain that has a surplus or ordered. I mean, seriously, have you seen the neurotypical world? Does that look ordered to you? It's not disorder. You might be in places that are a little harder to exist in than others. The office, school, a grocery store, a major event, a networking event. Oh my God. Oh, but that's not on you. That's the environment. I mean, are all humans suffering from ODBD, oxygen deficit breathing disorder, when they try to swim? No. They just have to paddle a bit harder when they're playing with the fishes and occasionally come up for air. It doesn't mean they don't belong in the water. Now, before we drown in that metaphor, let's just bring it to shore. Your brain works the way it should. Work with that instead of against it, and everything gets easier and more fun. So I'd like to hear, what are your own truisms of ADHD, your own maxims, or which of the ones that I just described don't apply to you? Either because you're lucky or because you figured a workaround. Love to hear from you. You can email me at gray, that's Gray, at ADHDOpen.space, and visit that site for the things. Or if you're interested in more crafty papercraft things, I happen to have a new site out called papermancy.art, and I'd love to have your look at that and see what you think. We're getting ready to launch it in 2026. So in the meantime, my name's Gray Miller. Thank you for watching and listening to ADHD Open Space.